Good, good day, everyone. I am Stephen Alberca, the discussant of Chapter 8, entitled Soul Making and Da Vincian Principles. Now, let us define what is soul making. Soul making is derived from the Greek word poieo, means to be the author of something. Thus, soul making is someone who has created in his intelligence. Now, soul making, in other words, is self-expression or expressing your ideas or thoughts or your knowledge onto something. Now, there are many methods upon expressing your ideas and thoughts by crafting images, stories, instruments, or movements to depict personal experiences and derive meaning. And also, soul making is the process of defining yourself or um, knowing yourself more or discovering yourself and your own potential. Now, there are many ways to express your ideas and knowledge. For first is crafting images. Crafting images includes the production by various forms and methods of visual representation of images. Any art form such as drawing, sketching, and sculpting can be used to perform this process. Dancing, poetry, and even filmmaking may also do this. Now, as I said earlier, soul making is type of self-expression. Now, we can express our ideas or thoughts through art. If you have something in mind, or for example, um, you had story that needs visualization. Now, you can express it or you can do it through making or crafting images, such as drawing, painting, and etc. Next is crafting stories. He or she is already crafting stories when an individual write down his or her thoughts, personal feedbacks, life values, deep feelings, ideals, high and low emotions. Now, this is the most common and most convenient type of expression or expressing your thoughts and knowledge by making a story. The most common thing that human do in expressing yourself is through dictionary or journal, telling about what happened to them, and also by writing, it is very convenient, and through this, it is they can know what happened to their day and they can assess, they can self-reflect. So it is the most um, convenient yet most effective type of methods to use in self-expression. Now, next is crafting instruments and music. Instruments create sound that exceeds thoughts, emotion, sensation. With instruments and music, an individual establishes a sense of cultural identity. Now, there are many cultures and tribes that they express their culture and their identity through making an instrument. For example, there is a certain tribe and they express their knowledge, their ideals, their belief onto making music or making an instrument. That is why they have different values, they have different methods, or they have different ways of music and playing music, and they have their own instrument. That's why they establish a sense of cultural identity because it is they express their ideas and cultures through making an instruments. Now, last is crafting movements. This category focuses on body movements like dancing and acting. Now, most of the artists, they express their thoughts and idea through dancing because they can move freely and they can how somewhat erase their thoughts or their burdens in their head by dancing. Also, it can establish they can establish a sense of freedom without upon dancing. Um, Most common type of self-expression pod is kanang theater because they convey the character and on what's in their head is about the life of the character. Now they will they will act it or dance with it. So it's just like an expressing their thoughts. In soul making, there are five phases of it. These five phases is the process of um, discovering yourself or helping you shape your own character. That's the ano uh essence of soul making. First is seeking. This initial phase involves recognizing oneself as a seeker and searching for methods to heal and make sense of the world. Now, in this phase is it is like finding a variable or finding a thing to be expressed on. So the purpose of this is to identify what is the needed for personal development and to begin the journey of self-discovery. Now it is just finding a variable to be relied on or to be discovered on. So next is settling. This phase is about deeply communicating with one's soul and the world. It requires finding stability and setting into practice or set of practices that align with one's creativity and passion. The purpose of this is to establish a foundation for profound communication and connection. Now, after you seek, which is the first phase, you need to settle, or for example, you find yourself very comfortable upon playing an instrument, but you don't know how to play them. Now, after you seek them, you settle with it, you practice it, you master the scales, the notes, the chords, and etc. As long as um you can establish uh you can establish with it or and you're you will pour out your heart and soul into it. That and after that we can proceed to the next process, which is the surrender. This phase involves surrendering with all its associated pain and vulnerability. The purpose of this is to let go of resistance and align with the soul's purpose. Now, after you master it, you need to reflect yourself, or because how can you proceed to the next level if you are being stagnant, if you don't have anything to surrender? Uh, so it is just like playing guitar if kanang dili ka gusto magtuon-an ang scales or that theory of music, dili ka makaproceed sa next level because you don't want to surrender something in you. Uh, so also this is much important than settling because you surrender your pride or anything that hinders you from discovering yourself. Next is soul making. At this stage, individuals start to perceive their life and practices as a way of nurturing the one soul. Um, in this phase, it is very close to appreciating yourself or discovering yourself because you acknowledge healing and growth, and perfection is not a goal because in life um there are they ha it they it sorry, in life daghan kayo siya og kaning noisy confusions which is can hinder us from our discovering or our kanang achievements. So next is soaring. The final phase is characterized by embracing the journey and experiencing a sense of freedom and fulfillment. It's about rising above challenges and living a life that is true to oneself. The purpose of this is to achieve a state of liberation and joy to journey. Now, this is the last phase where you acknowledge yourself or you embrace your experiences or your journey through discovering yourself. Now, it is kaninga phase is na nakay freedom, you are completely healed. So, to sum up the five phases, let's just put an example to this. Gikan ka sa heartbreak, okay, in a relationship, then you seek find something to be moved on, then you settle with it, then you start to appreciate the process, or you surrender all your pains in the past, so you moved on, then hanggang sa na-heal na ka. So it is just like that, but it is discovering yourself through art. Okay, so the purpose of soul making is to facilitate personal growth and development, whether through spiritual struggles and virtues in a theological context, or through creative expression and self-discovery in an artistic context. So as I said earlier, it is helpful for us to appreciate ourselves and discover our potential and our development and growth. Okay, so let us move on to the seven dimension principles. And these seven principles is created by Leonardo da Vinci. These principles are designed to inspire innovative thinking and a holistic approach to life, mirroring da Vinci's multifaceted genius. Now, according to what I've researched about, is that Da Vinci make these seven principles as a way or a method to approach challenges in life, or having or counter siya sa mga challenges where we can learn and we can grow and develop our self, our character. So the first principle is curiosity, or curiosity, an insatiably curious approach to life and unrelenting quest for continuous learning. Now, um, most or all of the learnings we've ever gained it comes from from curiosity, because we can't learn something if we're not curious about. For example nga, wow, kamay ni magitar giunsa ka na niya. From that moment, you start to be curious kung giunsa na niya. Okay, and then you discover na, ano din na siya. So, nanakay na learn ba ko? So, it all start with being curious. Next is independent thinking, or demonstration, a commitment to test knowledge through experience, persistence, and a willingness to learn from mistakes. Now, most of people they don't have a teachable heart, but according to Leonardo da Vinci, that for us to learn, we should be uh have a teachable heart, because if ang pride nato is dili magpaawat sa to, we can't learn something, di ba? So very much likely, this principle is just to have a teachable heart, learning through your experiences from our wrongdoings, because that's learning, because we cannot learn from our mistakes, diba? So it is reflecting ourselves to build wisdom, experiential learning, something somewhat like that. So next principle is sensation, or refining your senses. The continual refinement on the senses, especially the sight, as the means to living experiences. In application is the enhances sensory awareness to deepen understanding and appreciation to the world. Now this principle is very much likely to have an emotional intelligence, because in these days having an emotional intelligence is very important, because people around us are very queer, especially the social issues, right? So by having emotional intelligence and refining our senses, we can have the knowledge how to approach that uncertainty in our life, or we are being aware, or having an understanding about what is happening in the world, and we can have a proper response to them by having senses, by having what are the appropriate things with our emotional intelligence to do. Okay, next is sfumato, or embrace uncertainty, a willingness to embrace ambiguity, paradox, and uncertainty. Now, um, according to Leonardo da Vinci, that we should embrace uncertainty, because if we don't embrace uncertainty, it is just like rejecting the world because the world is full of challenges, right? And accepting those challenges or accepting those our uncertainty in life, we can learn from it. As I've said earlier nga, para sa refining your senses, di ba nga, we can learn if we have a proper response if naatay emotional intelligence, if we kuan at put atong mga senses. But in this principle, by embracing the challenges or fighting, confronting the battles in this world, we can encourage ourselves to have a better approach to them, or we can grow stronger and develop ourselves. So just accept that the world is full of challenges, because if we don't accept it, makuratan ka, okay, ma-depress na dayon ka if ma-lose ka ana. So if imo na siyang dawaton, you can have the approach on those things that makahinder sa imo. So next is art and science, balancing art and science, logic and imagination. So practice is to have an analytical thinking and problem solving in world, especially in our academic or in work. Art and sciences is very important. So that is why, according to Da Vinci, we should refine or balance art and sciences, and also to develop our analytical thinking, because it is very important nowadays, because we are also living in 21st century, which is technology is overcoming the world, right? So by when we say overcoming the world, so it is very likely to have a technical terms na dagan na kay mga technicalities. So we should learn art and sciences, or i-balance nato siya and have the critical analytical thinking to them. So next is corporality, or mind body care. So in this principle, it is like caring your mental health and your body, because if after challenges nga na-lose ta or na pilita, um maka-affect na siya sa ato ang mental health. So um we should always refine our mental health, or we should take care of it, because mental health drives our self baya. So if maapektuhan na to mental health, so di po ta makalihok through life. So we should take care, because there are many challenges and uncertainty in life, especially to our body, because ang body is maujud ang magadala bitaw sa kung sa ang response sa atong mental health. So they are interconnected. So we should take care the both of them. Next, or and the last is the interconnectedness. This is the most important principle, because we should recognize interconnectedness of all things. See connections between seemingly disparate concepts or phenomena. We cannot overcome such a thing if we don't have connections. So this is the most important thing, because we should be connected with God, because He always helps us in whatever circumstances that we fought. Also, we should have connection with our friends and other things that can help us in battling in this world. So I think that's all for the seven principles. Those are the approaches in life upon um addressing social issues, or not social issues, the issues in life, especially as a teenager, as a adulting, the challenges. So those seven principles are helpful to us defining and refining ourselves and developing learning, growth, and maturity. I think that's all. Thank you.